Welcome, everybody, to the Stream of David, and this is Claim Your Power Hour. And this is going to be a really super exciting, fun adventure today. The vibes are high. We've got lots of stuff going. David, how are you?
I'm good.
I
It's
love
been an
that.
exciting week that's gone by very, very fast.
It's been a super exciting week, and yesterday was 2/22/22. And
It's funny. I spent most of the day just meditating yesterday. I didn't really get a lot done, and it was beautiful. I just had this whole day of meditation and feeling really, really, really swept up in the stream. And I was telling Carrie that I didn't realize till the end of the day that it was 2/22. I didn't even think about it. That my number lining up day is a good day for me for sure. So
well, I thought so. I was at Disneyland all day, and if anybody went Mickeymousc. Doot doot. I'm telling you, the new Star Wars attraction is oh my god, it's so way cool. But just to be at Disneyland after so long and so many years was just actually really super fun. And the fact that it was the most powerful manifestation comes in the word in the form of fun. I don't know if you ever noticed that. I know.
yeah, definitely. The serendipity. I love that. When we just find ourselves swept up in this joyful experience. And of course, when you plan to go to Disney, you're sort of intending that. But I like it when you don't even intend it and it just happens.
I do too. And the only time that ever happens is when I say yes. When I mean yes, let me just clarify. We're going to actually, we could talk to the stream about saying yes when you mean no.
Hmm. People pleasing.
Ooh, yes, people pleasing, yeah, people pleasing. Why do we do that? Why are the other thing that's been coming up that we could talk to the stream about is playing small. Playing small. Like that's been like a theme this last week with me. It's like, am I okay? Where am I playing small? What is the fear holding a person back that keeps them from wanting to expand and play big?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's always, I'm sorry, I'm untangling. My housekeepers came today and they always do this thing with my headphones where they put it on top of my microphone. I suppose we don't have feedback right now. And it looks cute, but yeah, no, don't need to be there. Um, we were talking this morning in one of the boot camp meetings about the pyramids, not the ancient pyramids, the physical pyramids. We're talking about abundance pyramids, and it's a very, very useful tool. What the stream is giving us now on the idea of the a pyramid is related to a topic. So you have a wealth pyramid and you have a health pyramid and you have a relationship pyramid. And where this is different than your spiral is unique to you. The pyramid encompasses all of humanity. And you have a position within the pyramid based on your vibing. Are you at the top of that topic or are you at the bottom of the topic? So if your health is excellent, you're at the top, you're at the apex of the pyramid. If you are always sick and always manifesting illness and always focused on illness, which all goes hand in hand, you're probably toward the bottom of the pyramid. If money always flows and you know that you're financially abundant, you're very confident about that, you're at the apex of the pyramid. If you're anything less than that, then you are less than the apex of the pyramid. And the interesting thing that the stream came up with was talking about abundance. So we have this idea in the 3D human created matrix of thought
Mhm.
that life should be fair, which we know is a joke, it's not, and that we need to level the playing field, that all these billionaires at the top of the wealth pyramid are evil and they are in this cabal where they're all getting together and they're out in the woods sacrificing goats or whatever, and they're dancing around naked, rubbing blood on each other, and they're doing this special thing that puts them at the top of the pyramid. This idea that there's a conspiracy where they get together and conspire against all of humanity to hoard all of the money. You've heard
I've
that,
heard it.
right?
Oh, I've not only heard that, but I'm just sitting here. kind of am giggling a little because I was just you know what actually what hit me as you were talking is, can you imagine getting inside some of those imaginations of what how the hell
Well,
they
and the
they
thing
watched
is that
one dude, they
people
watched
don't
one too many
understand
movies.
how can a handful of people control the majority of the wealth, and the vast majority of the rest of humanity not be, as wealthy combined as the few people at the top. How can that be? It must be a conspiracy. But it's not a conspiracy, it's vibration. It's vibration. And what the stream said is that you can take every single human being on planet Earth, and you can take all of the perceived wealth, which is all a perception anyway, but all of the wealth, and divide it equally. And in a short amount of time, the pyramid's going to reform itself. Some people are going to blow right through that wealth. Some people are going to lose it. Some people are going to get cheated out of it. Some people are all these different things are going to happen, and the pyramid is going to be reshaped. And it's probably going to be reshaped looking a lot like it did before you did that complete, even, and equitable distribution. So that notion that we're supposed to take abundance, whatever abundance, on whatever topic, and divide it equally among everyone because life's supposed to be fair, everybody deserves the same experience. That is very humanized 3D thinking, because we are here for a vibrational experience. We are here to have whatever it is that we're manifesting, whatever it is, whatever experience we're manifesting, it is expanding our being, period. So if we're at the bottom of the pyramid and we're always broke, there's value in that experience. But the good news is that it is vibrational. You don't have to stick yourself anywhere on the pyramid. You can go up the pyramid in health. You can go up the pyramid in relationships. You can go up the pyramid in wealth and joy, fun, whatever it is, whatever topic you're on, you position yourself on the pyramid. And a lot of that positioning has to do with your attitude toward that topic, your belief system.
I love this. And one of the things that the stream talks about is the fact that if it wasn't like this, y'all wouldn't be here. So, is it safe to consider, David, that if we're still here and we're still experiencing some contrast happening, that we're going to be here for a bit? Because if you have all your plates spinning at one time, all just going perfectly in order, one, we're going to get bored, so you're going to break one.
But yeah, you're going to get bored
Yeah,
and you're going to go over and tip one over. Exactly.
totally. But
I
if you
love that.
don't,
Sure.
what's going to happen? Well, that's what the stream says. You're going to get bored. We need this. You're just not going to be here. So maybe one way we could learn to appreciate more, and you can tell me what your vibe is on this, is to realize and recognize that if we are having the contrast, then that definitely means, well, obviously you still have some stuff to do. So you're here, you
Yeah.
know, check it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole purpose of physical, is just that. The whole purpose of physical is that up and down vibrational flow, the preferences that we discern as ours, and the things that we discern as obstacles. All of that stuff combines to create this life journey, and we can get those plates spinning, pretty good. But inevitably, something's going to start teetering and faltering. It
Oh,
just
yeah.
is. But the spin outs always have value every single time. I have yet to have I have spin outs all the time, certainly, just like everybody else. I have yet to have a spin out that I can't, as soon as at some point, the point is of appreciation. As soon as I appreciate the spin out just for this, what it is, then I have the clarity of source where I can see that, that's why that happened. That's why I did that. That took me even higher. Every
Mhm.
spin out is there just to take you higher.
I hope you all are catching that. It's sort of like a top, you know what I mean? You got to get higher. You got to spin it really fast to get it to go where you want, right? Look, anything that we can do with if the human being is capable of coming up with some of those conspiracy theories, and for God's sake, they've got a great imagination. Look, I'm just saying it because that's the way I feel about it. What can we do to use our imagination, just as the stream says, to create the magic we're looking for. I mean, and the spin outs happen. The spin outs. Oh, okay. How can we look at? Well, spinning's fun. We were on the teacups yesterday. It was really super fun to spin around in circles. I'm going to tell you what. Remember those things on the playground, David, that we used to play on, and we'd spin, and then your
Yeah.
friends would spin them
I,
super
I
fast,
saw Joe on TikTok spinning around a teacup today. It was pretty entertaining.
right? So if you're looking at if we could just offer what the stream says, find the joy in the contrast, find the joy in the appreciation of the spin. How can we view it? I mean, seriously, if that helps anybody, because it's true. How can that be fun? I don't know. We thought it was pretty fun until that we were ralphing over in the bushes after being done spinning, on those toys when we were little in the playground, which I don't think they even have anymore, quite honestly. You all may not even know what we're talking about.
Yeah, who knows? I definitely like the concept of playing with these pyramids and imagining what it's like to be at the top of the pyramid and understanding the top of the pyramid is a vibrational alignment. Yes, maybe that brings some of these people together in social settings or masterminds or whatever, but to think that you've got these very healthy egos getting together and working in harmony with one another, and nobody trying to be the dominant of the dominance is kind of silly if you think about it. You really think that they're that organized and that close where they're all getting together and deciding, okay, we're going to be the only multi-billionaires of the world and everybody else is going to be less than that and we're going to hoard our information? No, they all have the camaraderie of that. Hey, we figured out this wealth thing. We know how to be at the top of the pyramid on wealth, but not on everything. Not on everything.
Nope, it's not on everything. And I love this because if anybody's listening, what you just said was it's the vibration, it's the frequency. It's getting in alignment with that. With that, instead of judging, I mean, the stream talks about all the time, instead of judging it, letting that flow happen. So let's go back to talking about why people aren't why they don't take that big step forward. They play a little bit small. They don't really want to step out there. And the reason I asked this is because I posted on Facebook today, um, courage instead of conformity. It takes courage instead of conform. And so I really would love some expansion on how that we could look at rather than conforming to be encouraged.
Well, here's the thing. Right now, we see a lot of polarity, a lot of polarization. So we see a lot of people operating in what we call the matrix. And you're in the matrix when you're polarized. You're in the matrix when believe you are on one side of something and you're against the other side. And you're not able to authentically appreciate both sides. Because when you can authentically appreciate both sides, you're lifted out of the matrix because that is source perspective. And we all have that flowing to us. So every day you're opening up social media or whatever, and you're seeing information about someone. The big thing this week is people trying to deplatform Joe Rogan because of his questioning of things. And I'm not a huge Joe Rogan. I flip through. I hear things that are interesting. From what I understand, is he's really big into just having a variety of people on his very popular podcast with a
Correct.
variety of ideas and entertaining a variety of ideas. How crazy to question and entertain. That's been my mantra my whole life. Question everything.
Always.
Question everything. And now we see more and more and more people that seem like they're falling into this I hate to call it a trap because there's a lot of judgment in that, but this matrix of you're not allowed to question anything. This is the way we think and this is the way you're supposed to think, and if you don't think that way, there's something wrong with you and you need to be silenced.
Sorry. Um,
Well, I mean, the first thing I think, when I see that someone needs to be deplatformed, I that's a big red flag. I believe that we should be able to get out there and talk about anything, even the crazy stuff that I talk about, all this,
yep.
channeling source and, in and out of the matrix and all of that stuff. Fortunately, I'm enough under the radar to where nobody's worried about deplatforming me. But you get big enough, and suddenly you're considered dangerous. You get 12 million listeners or whatever he's got every week to his podcast, and he's labeled a danger now because his esoteric, very not polarized thinking is somehow a danger to us. That we all have to follow this belief system, and if we're not, into that specific belief system, then it's disinformation, and it gets really confusing for us.
Well,
It gets
does.
frightening and confusing, and you don't know who to believe or what to think. And the path out of all of that is a mindset of well-being and abundance at the top of your pyramid in all of these areas, regardless of what the chatter is out there. So it's recognizing that there is a matrix, recognizing that the matrix is polarized, appreciating it, not demonizing it, not damning it.
Mhm.
That's where people get tripped up. That, oh, no, the Matrix, that's terrible. I'm not any part of that. Those people are a bunch of sheep. Well, as soon as you start criticizing it, you're lowering your own vibration via your own judgment, and you're participating in it. You're fueling it, especially the things that we think are evil. We're fueling those things by judging them.
This is very true, and I did baba. So, but really, it the opposite to me of not of sovereignty is to be is to follow the crowd, and sovereignty is very important right now. I love Joe. I hear a feedback.
Do you?
I did.
Hmm.
Okay. Anyway, so
You
yeah,
sound, you sound fine on
okay.
mine. Yeah.
So our sovereignty is so important. Our anonymity is so important. But as we're learning this along the way. So I think that you posed a question here. People and also some action to challenge everything that you hear. To, and it's the truth. Be open to learning that there may be a different way to do this. That was one of the things, David, that we get to do though, because we're in Taya and we're in this community where if something's going on, we instantly are okay. I love that, but where is this at within you? And why are you calling this to you? What do you need to see? And one of the reasons that I said courage versus conformity is because it takes courage to look at ourselves and take full accountability for ourselves. And one of the things about the stream is that when you do my favorite tool, and that is observe from the eyes of source, to zoom out and
And we're
observe.
really not having to zoom out. I mean, I love the term zoom out because people understand what you mean. You're
Yeah,
really zooming in because source is there. Source is omnipresent within us, always, 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 always. We disallow it when we lower ourselves into the matrix by judging and demonizing and all of that stuff. We are separating ourselves from source because source isn't about that. I can promise you that source is not about that. Source is about loving all that is, loving the entire earthly experience, even the things that we judge as not our preference. But understanding that the things that we judge as not our preference are our own creation, very often via our own low vibrational thoughts that actually present us with an opportunity to expand. Every spin out offers an opportunity for expansion every single time. And that expansion expands us eternally and contributes to the expansion of the entire universe. And when I say expansion, if you don't know what the hell I mean by expansion, if you don't, type in the comments, what the hell do you mean by expansion? What is that?
literally
Expansion is
just like that.
becoming a more sophisticated version of you. You are made
Mm.
more sophisticated because you have moved through this experience. You have moved through the experience of starting a business and going bankrupt. You have moved through the experience of walking into the supermarket with $20 in your pocket, and that's all you can buy for groceries, and you've got to get really creative, right? When you're
Absolutely.
broke, there's no better creative time in your life than when you're broke.
Oh, can I tell you, please? You've watched me do that for real. Absolutely. I just want to put this up, everybody. Expansion is a more sophisticated version of you. That was I loved it.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
what
that
that's
was
what because the entire universe is expanding. Even scientists say that now. The universe is expanding and they don't know how. Well, the how is because source is expressing itself in infinite physical ways. All creation, all physical creation is expression of source. And all of that creation is experiencing contrast, meaning all of that creation is experiencing things that are unwanted, things that are uncomfortable, things that are discerned as not a preference. And as soon as we have that, that's part of polarity. We have that preference thing, that judgment thing that we all have. And where preference turns into judgment is when you instill that inner, inject fear into it. But we're naturally discerners of preference. And in that discernment of preference, we are naturally finding things in the earth environment that are not to our liking, that we need to create to move away from. So you're flat broke, you've got, you've scraped up $20, you need to feed yourself for a few days, if not a week, and you're walking into that supermarket and that's all you've got. That's a character building moment for sure, and it's a time that you are going to tap into your creativity, especially if you are in high vibration of it about it. I'm not judging it. I got $20. This is where I am. I'm going to make this work. Or woe is me. Oh my God, this is awful. I'm suffering so much. Somebody needs to rescue me. Somebody needs to give me some money. Somebody needs to help me from out of this thing. This is happening to me, not for me. That's a whole different vibe. And there's not a lot of expansion offered in that victim vibe. The expansion comes from, okay, no one's going to rescue me. So I guess I'd better just rescue my damn self at this point. And that's when you get creative. And when you get creative and you move through that experience, then all of a sudden that monster isn't a monster anymore. I've been there. I've walked into the supermarket with $20 to my name, and that's all I could spend. And I had to, it was tuna. I think it was tuna and bacon that was on sale that week. That's what I ate. That's what I had to eat. So we have these experiences, the experience of getting divorced or getting dumped or being cheated on, or having a diagnosis that's serious, or having chronic pain to move through that experience, getting fired from a job, all of these things that we consider, the club of people who were raised by alcoholics. Think about that. Think about how people who have had that experience can get together and kind of commiserate, if you will. Yeah, I had the same thing. I remember that experience. I remember how frightening it was, or I remember how I had to step up and become an adult at a very early age, or I had to raise my siblings, or I had to clean up, a mess in the house and put my drunk parent to bed. Yeah, me too. And then you have this bond and this commiseration because you are sharing it in such a way that you have moved through the experience. You've become a more sophisticated being because
Hmm.
you have awareness of what that experience is, and you had to move through it and find a way to survive it.
That's it. But that's the thing. It's like when we start realizing that we are warriors, we have survived it. We are here. I'm here talking about it right now. David, if you all because you've watched me go through it. We've all had our top ramen moment in the grocery store. I- Period. I don't care who if you are human and you're as old as we are, I guarantee you've had a top ramen moment. But it's
Yeah, and
appreciating
those
the
handful
moment.
of people that maybe haven't, they don't know what they're missing.
Seriously, yeah, they don't. We're not
If
talking
you
about the
if you've
ramen.
never known being broke, and if you've never known heartbreak, and notice that no matter who you are manifesting some kind of contrast.
Always.
I mean, who's more celebrated in our current day society in the United States, at least, than the Kardashian family? And I don't really follow all of that, but the thing I do see is it's always some sort of romantic, divorce, cheated on, divorce, cheated on. So that's their thing. I know that most of the kids, especially the younger ones, have probably never had to worry about money a second in their lives. I know there's one that's in her early 20s that's supposedly already a billionaire. So I doubt that she's ever had a ramen moment in her life, ever, 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 and has no clue what that's about. But there's other contrasts that she knows about because nobody's having a perfect life experience.
No,
And
nobody
we
is.
all place so
No.
much value on the money experience, but it's interesting. I use Steve Jobs as an example a lot. And I talk about Steve Jobs. He crossed over at 54. I'm about to turn 54 in a couple of weeks. And any time I get beyond 54, I am automatically wealthier than Steve Jobs in the topic of time.
Wow, that's actually beautiful. I love that. Time being your most valuable asset.
Everybody thinks money is it, and money's great. Not bad mouthing money or the things that money provides for us. But if Steve Jobs could have given away a chunk of that wealth for more time, he probably would have done it.
In a
I'm
hot
sure he
second,
tried. I'm sure he.
I you know
I am
it.
certain that he parted with a lot of wealth in an attempt to not have that crossing experience at 54. I'm sure he did.
I
Sure, he had the
guarantee
best medical care in the world, right?
you absolutely know that. And it was for sure like his time, but you said something so radically perfect because of course, leaving this planet is one way that I know because I've almost done it a couple times and then had people leave. Life is so short. The time is huge. Asking ourselves, time, how much do you value you? Because that really is going to be how much you value time, your time. It's really and David, what do we tell people when they're undervaluing themselves still?
Yeah, well, when we're undervaluing ourselves and you're not playing big, as you're saying, that's all connected back to that worthiness component. And the worthiness component is definitely something that is used as a tool of religion, especially telling us that we're worthy of God's love, but we need to give of ourselves and not think too highly of ourselves. It's sort of like stay in your lane.
Oh, yeah, well, that's for
Stay in
sure.
your lane. You know, the people that lead the church, stay in your lane, be humble, be kind, give to the church, give us your money. And I was talking earlier today about visiting the Vatican and hearing all these stories in Rome because we visited so many. We visited churches and we visited a monastery and all these places, and hearing all these stories and started weaving together that the Catholic Church was very much about most of them living in poverty and giving of themselves so that a handful of leaders could live like royalty, could absolutely live like royalty. So this idea of putting others before yourself is disempowering. It's absolutely disempowering. But notice that the people in our world that just completely ignore that and do feel worthy. These are
Yeah.
the leaders, the most successful people that we know are supremely confident because they feel worthy. They feel worthy of being the most successful business person or musician or athlete. They feel worthy of that. They feel worthy of the accolades. They feel worthy of the big salary that comes along with that. They feel worthy of all of the attention. They feel worthy of stepping into being that. The stream calls that the isness of it. The isness of it, stepping into the isness, being the essence of that which you desire to be or have or do. The isness. Anything that you want, when you achieve the isness of it, you are vibrationally it. You are being that vibrationally. And if you allow that, meaning you trust it, and trust is the most important word, right? So you trust
Yeah,
that. You trust the universe. You trust the process. You understand that being that mental creation makes you that creation because everything is vibrational first. The physical manifestation is always the byproduct of that. And the only reason we don't manifest something physically that we want is because we step into that isness and then we somehow lower our vibration. And in the lower vibration, we stop trusting.
I love that. Let's talk about what worthy feels like.
All of you watching, there's a lot of you watching right now. Why don't you type in what worthy feels like?
Yeah.
Or
Oh, that's
questions.
good.
We're here for questions too. Stream is always around. We can always answer
Uh,
questions.
I know what worthy feels like for me. Worthy feels like pure acceptance and appreciation for the life I've led here, for breath, you know, for being here right now in the moment. We're in the isness right here. This
Hmm.
is the isness. Worthy. I deserve to be right here with you right now. We're vibrationally matched. It's an appreciative experience because it's one more experience, it's one more moment. Worthy is a beautiful expansion. It's exactly what David said just a little bit ago, which I typed in here somewhere that I seem to have lost for a minute. Here we go. Expansion is a more sophisticated version of you. Worthiness fits right in there with that
Hmm.
because yeah, it just does. There's this thing that happens, and what I noticed, David,
Well,
is it keeps
as
getting
you
better.
expand into your worthiness, you're a more worthy and more sophisticated version of you. And there's no ceiling to worthiness. And I'm not talking about this false ego, you know, talking about how amazing you are. It's really feeling it and believing it and trusting it. Saying it and trusting it. That's the thing. Because we can say affirmations and things like that all we want, but if you're not believing it when you're saying it, you're really not doing a whole lot. The affirmations have power when you say it with belief and trust.
I love that. So Cheryl says, worthy for me is the knowledge that I deserve what I want. I deserve what I want for those around me.
And think about that. We talk about the there's worthiness, and the word deserving can mean the same thing as worthiness. Just don't allow your I deserve it to fall into that it's not here.
Oh,
Because the it's not here is what we call the vibration of need. And the vibration of need is the number one pitfall that people step into that hold them away from their desired manifestation on any topic. The I am worthy of financial abundance. I love the financial system. I love that we have this amazing system of exchange in our world. That if I create something of value, and I know that I am worthy of creating something of value and offering that up to the world, I am worthy of receiving exchange for that thing that I've created that is of value to humanity. I am worthy of that. I am worthy of the creation of it. I'm worthy of the exchange from it. But when you believe that you've got to create something and give it away and that you're not worthy of receiving the exchange, that falls into that, oh, I just want to be a benevolent, helpful being. I don't need all of that. I just want to help people. I want to help my fellow humans. I understand the vibe behind that, but why are you not also worthy of receiving in the giving? Law of attraction. If you are going to put something out there, you are going to receive something back. You're not going to stop that. You're going to. You just absolutely are going to. So whatever you're vibing and putting out is going to be returned to you. And it's okay to create knowing that it's going to come back to you. But this idea that you have to create and not allow anything to come back because that's bad, that's not being charitable or whatever. Most people that give freely and generously to charities are doing so because they understand that money is fluid, and they are worthy of receiving and they're worthy of giving, and they understand that when they give they're going to receive right back yet again.
I agree. 100%. And I know that this is all very true. What I'd love is for those watching right now to let us know how this is resonating and what's coming up for you as David and I are having this conversation. What's happening here for you? I'm going to talk about being codependent because the codependent thing is it actually showed up for me, David, when I was being too critical critical. And I recognized, oh, in a conversation, oh, that could be happening, and that was coming up, and then I had to look and ask myself why, and use my Taya tools.
Yeah, why am I in this vibration of judgment? We all catch ourselves there. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And so what I do know is that the people pleaser vibe is probably the strongest victim vibe that I worked on to eliminate. Because man, feeling sorry for people, feeling like I need to do something to save them, because then my selfishness was actually being fed, because then my ego is being fed, because I'm
Yeah, when
doing
you
the
think you need to
thing
save somebody from themselves, it's pretty that's very, highly
smarter,
activated ego, right? I'm the
highly
savior. I'm here to save you from your human journey, which means right off the bat, you're judging it,
done.
and Source isn't judging it. So if Source isn't judging it, and Source, the source of all creation, isn't swooping in and saving that being from their experience, who in the hell are we to do that?
Mm.
I know, and I know how upside down that is from humanity's teachings. I get it. Oh,
No,
this
no, no.
person, that
It's
sounds so
perfect.
callous, not to save someone. Now, if I see
Oh,
someone drowning, of course I'm going to do what I can to save someone from drowning. I get that. But I'm talking about saving them from their experience. That they're having this spin out, and we define a spin out as a prolonged, unwanted manifestation. And we all go through spin out periods on different topics. We all do. And the spin out though has value,
yeah.
and what we do in the practice of Taya, and this is what we really teach people toward the end of boot camp, because once you get out of boot camp and you start really practicing Taya and making it your way of being, what happens is that meeting these obstacles in joy and seeing with that clarity becomes it's second nature. The idea of an obstacle popping up and you being able to immediately appreciate it, you understand that in your appreciation of that obstacle, your vibration is going up. And when your vibration goes up, you reemerge with your natural source state of being. And in that state of being, you've got clarity. In that state of being, whatever it is that you manifested, more times than not, just solves itself. The solution is just right there. And 10 minutes, 10 hours, 10 days, whatever it was, however long you placed yourself in that spin out, you can look back and remember that, wow, just not long ago, this felt impossible. This felt hopeless. I thought it was perhaps the end of me, or the end of my business or my relationship, or my health or whatever. I felt like I was at the edge, and there was no turning, there was no solution. But that's what low vibration is. That lower vibrational field feels hopeless, but it's not an honest place. It's a liar. It's lying to you. It's telling you something that is not true. False evidence for appearing real, right? It's
Hmm.
that low vibration false evidence of, here you are in low vibration. This is hopeless. And a lot of humanity labels that as evil or dark energy, or they believe that there's evil beings projecting that in and making that happen. And it's not. It's just our own ego separating us from source. That's all it is. So in that
100%.
separation from source, things seem hopeless.
Yeah, they
You
sure
stay,
do.
yeah, you stay in that cycle of, I've got to return to drinking, or eating things I know are unhealthy, or unhealthy relationships, or judging other people, or some kind of unwanted habit, because you believe you're just on autopilot down there. There is no new thought available down there, ever, 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 ever. You've got to move your vibration above neutral to allow new thought, because source is new thought. And source is not playing around below neutral.
Nope. And I'm going to be right back. But before I head out for just one quick second, David, talk about false evidence appearing real. What is evidence used for? Think about that, everybody. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
So the concept of fear is going down into that lower vibrational field and activating a component of our ego that is very much about just a natural reaction to our environment that grabs our attention and motivates us to get out of harm's way. But that ego mechanism, that fear mechanism, part of our ego, has been exploited. And without judging that exploitation, simply appreciating the matrix that is, understanding that we can appreciate the matrix, but we don't have to stay there and play around in it. And we can appreciate that, hey, we've got this, this controversy going on right now that we talked about earlier with, Joe Rogan, this guy that sort of brings a lot of free thought into a big platform. And there are people out there trying to deplatform him,
Mhm.
and the people trying to deplatform him believe they're right.
They do.
This is right. He's spreading disinformation, and the definition of disinformation is information that I do not agree with. So,
Well, that's
someone's
because
spreading
they're
disinformation.
scared. They're fear. Y'all listen. The only reason they're fighting it so hard, David, is because they are in the thing that you just said.
Yeah, well, that for
The
me,
fear.
it's always been that way. The red flag for me is somebody trying to silence someone, because look at all the crazy shit we get to go online and say about any topic at any time, and then
Anytime.
people are saying this and that and the other thing, and it's there's all kinds of conspiracy theories and things that just sound nuts when we hear them, but
Yeah.
that's allowed to be, and then suddenly someone's got a different or an alternate opinion about masks or vaccines. Oh, they've got to be deplatformed. What is that? Doesn't that is very telling to me, that you feel like you need to silence someone for disinformation? Oh, well, the health. It's health. It's a health thing. All right. Well, then what are you going to do with the cooking show that's showing me how to pour plenty of butter and sugar into the cheesecake? That's not good for my anybody's health either, but they're allowed to have a platform, you know? Well, so this deplatforming idea for the good of the people, why can't we let people decide what's good for them? We're imperfect beings with imperfect bodies, all having our imperfect human experiences. We all have our health spinouts. We all have our vices. We all choose different paths. If someone chooses, to drive like a maniac and cause a car accident, their likelihood of dying goes up. If you
Mhm.
choose to smoke, we know that probably your likelihood of dying statistically goes up. But we also know that your belief system can supersede all of that. You
That's
can
right.
have an intention of safety and still drive crazy and fast and be safe. I always talk about my one of my favorite photos is the woman who's lighting her cigarette on her 100 calendar candle birthday cake. I don't know how real that is, but I do believe that your belief system supersedes everything. If you believe you're healthy, and if you believe you're worthy, and you believe your body can manage anything, then your belief system is going to supersede science, the statistics, because statistics are just averages anyway. There's always somebody that is way above average on any topic.
This is right. And did you know that when people practice appreciation and gratitude, that those people who do practice this have 18% less heart attacks per science? You can look that up under Dr. Robert Emmons from UC Berkeley. That's a fact. I just had to throw that in because it's like, yes, that is what happens. Your thought systems and your belief systems, that's huge.
Well,
So,
practicing gratitude is about aligning with source. Source
right.
loves all that is. So the more we're loving some of what is, right? If not all that is, the more we're aligning with source. The more we're aligned with source, the less stressed we are naturally. Because
Yeah,
what does source alignment allow us to do? My favorite word, trust. Alignment allows us to trust. When you're
it
up
does.
in that source connected space, you're Teflon. Whatever rolls in, COVID rolls in, this is going to be an enjoyable journey, or it's going to be terrifying. The
Like,
ones in the Matrix are terrified. I'm terrified of COVID. I was in a antique shop over the weekend. What are we, like 2 years into COVID now? I was in an antique shop over the weekend, and this
something
woman
like that.
came in, and
Yeah,
it seems like 10, right? This woman
yeah.
comes in, and the shop owner recognized her, and he's like, "Wow, I haven't seen you in forever." She says, "Yeah, I've been stuck in my house letting my TV scare the hell out of me for 2 years."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I thought that was really, really interesting. Yeah, she finally decided she'd had enough and turned that crap off and got out into the world
Mm,
after 2 years.
beautiful. And actually, you bring that. I love that you bring that up because Right now, those of you watching, give yourselves extra kudos because you're paying attention to what's going into your ears. You're paying attention to what you're doing. You're in your isness by doing that. So give yourself some credit. That's awesome. And awesome for the person who got out in front of the boob tube. I'm of the firm belief though, if you're gonna spend any time at all doing anything, this is exactly what you should be doing. And also going and jumping over, if you're watching from Facebook or you're watching from YouTube or anywhere else, please go over to the Facebook group and join the Taya practice, please. This is where the community meets and everybody chit chats and things like that. David asked a question today. Oh, what was it? You asked something about, oh, I know what it was. The what frustrates you most about Taya?
Oh, that
That
was the
was
other
it.
day. Yeah.
That was the other day, and I laughed and I said, "Well, my inability to for me, it's not owning my own stuff. The only thing that frustrates me is me." You asked another question today and I'm like, "Me?" Every
Yeah, well,
time you
all roads
Yeah,
do lead back to us, and those questions, I like to just pop those in there to kind of see
they're
where the group is. Is everybody? I know we have lurkers in the group that don't really participate, and that's fine. But jump in, talk about it. If something about Taya frustrates you, I want to hear about it
Yeah,
because we
me
can
too.
address it on these lives that we do every single week.
Actually, there were some really great comments that came out of that, but you have to be in the Thai practice group right now, and I'm not going to bring them up because I don't have permission. But I will tell you that there were some really beautiful comments that were made, and it's extraordinary to watch the journey, to watch the journey of everybody, and the fact that we have this community. This is a big deal. Our community, the community is a big deal because you brought up COVID and the lady that was in her house, right, for 2 years. Well, that's not what we're meant to be. We're supposed to be here for each other. So, that's another thing that
Yeah,
I
if you
love.
find yourself on social media getting drawn into the fear-inducing narrative, and we all know that there are certain social media sites that are very much about drawing you into fear, and that keeps you glued to it, perhaps. But you don't
Yeah.
have to do that. You can always come play with us. The YouTube channel, the Facebook group, the podcast. We're getting close to 200 episodes on the podcast that you can plow through. That podcast has gone through so many evolutionary iterations that you're not going to get bored with it. There's a lot of great information on that podcast, and it's getting better all the time. We're getting there's more and more people coming into the Taya community. I have a lot of boot camp graduates on. You'll hear a lot of amazing testimonials from people who have completely changed their lives with the practice and how they're doing it. We share this stuff far and wide. We're not keeping secrets. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in keeping secrets. I love to share Taya with the world and understand that the stream has delivered and continues to deliver all these amazing teachings, and the Taya practice is our practical application of that. Taking what source is telling us, forgiveness, gratitude, radical appreciation, shadow work, that's sort of all bound up there together. Appreciating, gratitude for where you are, where you've been, gratitude for what is, understanding that you can find gratitude in any moment. You can find something to appreciate. If you're ever stressed, look for 3 to 5 things to find appreciation for in the moment. And if you can't find appreciation for anything, then it's time to do a low thought activity. Do something to take your mind off of how crappy you feel or how awful you think things are. Something that doesn't take a lot of, um, you don't want creativity when you're down there because you're not going to be creative down there. You're not solving anything down there because your source connection, which is the source of all creation, it's also the source of all new thought. Because every time you come up with a new idea, that is new creation. You're coming up with a new idea or an evolved opinion of you or humanity or anything that's going on, that is the same creation as an entire new world being manifest and physical. It's exactly the same. We don't give it as much power, but it's exactly the same because everything is a thought, and then that thought can expand. And if that thought is trusted, it will manifest.
Absolutely, you guys, 100%. And I want to just say I'm living proof of that. I'm not going to get all into it right now, but the fact is, if anybody's been watching us for any length of time, you already know that about me. Getting into appreciation for the things that are happening right now, meaning I don't care if it's the breath coming out of your mouth or the water coming out of your sink. Somebody plumbed that and somebody dug the trenches, man. You're on a freeway and you're driving and you're pissed off at the person in front of you. Thank the person who created the road that you're driving on. Thank the people that went out there and did that to do that. It is the easiest thing on the planet to find something to appreciate out there. I promise you. You could appreciate the pillow you're sleeping on just because it's like the softest pillow ever.
Well, I fall asleep in appreciation every night. I love my bed and my pillow and the sheets, and I've created such a comfortable sleeping environment that I fall asleep in appreciation every night. And because I
Supercharged.
know that I'm going to sleep more soundly in appreciation, and I'm going to wake up in a better vibration and be able to sort of ground myself before I even get out of bed, so that I am setting up my day to be the manifestation that I want it to be, instead of this shit show of one bad thing after another. I used to live like that. I know what that's like. I used to live like that. You
Totally.
wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and then you've got to get up and you've got to get dressed, you've got to get to work, and you've got to get in your car, and you've got to sit in traffic, and then you get to work, and it's just one problem after the next. And you just want the day to be over. When's the weekend going to come? I lived that life. I don't anymore at all, but I used to live that life, so I understand that very, very, very well. You don't have to be there. I am living proof, and so is Debbie, that you don't have to be in that space any longer than you want to be. And as soon as you decide that you're worthy to get out of it, and you truly trust the universe, and that's what Taya is. It's called Taya for trust your abundance. But what we do in the Taya practice, and especially in boot camp, is that we are unlearning the things that cause us not to trust, and learning new habits that allow us to trust. We're getting rid of all the crap that drags our vibration down, because when your vibration goes up, your ability to trust goes up. Do a little experiment. Do some meditation, sit and appreciate you and love you, and do these appreciation exercises, and notice how the world lightens up as your vibration rises. And you can even get into a place where no matter what you stumble upon on Facebook or TikTok or wherever you are, you can simply appreciate it for what it is, and appreciate the other beings that you're observing for the experience that they're having. That's a beautiful way to live life. I appreciate you and move on. I appreciate you and move on, instead of getting drawn back into the matrix with this polarized narrative of, oh, this is so wrong. This is so bad. They're so stupid. You're on the right side of this. Let's divide and conquer here. That division is always a sign of polarity. It's absolutely low vibration. Source has no part of that. Source has no part of it. So anything that's polarized is the matrix. The matrix is has source in it, because everything does, but I promise you the matrix is a creation to separate you from source. And you're allowing it.
I love that. You said something earlier that I thought was remarkable that I love, and that is you can't you can't know one thing. You can't tell a lie without you can't tell the truth without telling a lie. You can't appreciate money till you learn to appreciate being broke. You
Mhm.
can't appreciate being rich until you're appreciating being broke. And what made me think what came to me at that moment was, a song by 6 AM, which is, from Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue. It's called "Life is Beautiful," and it says just that. Sometimes it takes a trail of blood to find your way back home. If any of you are rockers out there, it's a killer song, and it's honestly gonna back up every single thing that David just said. And 2, I've recognized, David, there's a whole bunch of millionaires, like, they're just popping up everywhere. Every time I turn around, there's a new millionaire out there. And I realized it's nothing to be a millionaire anymore. What like,
The world is
nothing.
abundant. We live
It
in
is
an
so
an
abundant.
abundant world for sure.
All I see people every time I turn I'm like, "This is really cool." What that means, if I am now seeing evidence of how abundant the world is, That means my life, I'm living my life from a state of abundance. And I learned that through trusting my abundance through the practice that we're in. Right here, if you guys want to learn more, it's streaming across the screen. And I'm going to do one more shout out for the Facebook Taya group. Please go join the Facebook group, the Taya Practice. I also want to say a huge thank you to Lee and Cindy and Cheryl and Joe and the Facebook users. We don't have your name, but we love you. And all of the comments that you've been putting in, and they're very inspiring. You're inspiring us to keep talking. So thank you.
One more thing too that I
Yeah,
have to tell everybody about. We are going to do another live masterclass, the new operating system for your life. We're going to teach that again on Saturday, February 12th at 3 p.m. Pacific. So we've done it in the morning, and now we're going to do it later. We're going to offer it later for Australians and people in the United States that maybe, in the winter you want to do an early evening masterclass. The masterclass is free. It takes about 90 minutes. We go super deep. I have the coaches on with me. We go deep into the Taya practice, and you learn what the Taya practice is really all about, the 4 pillars, what boot camp is all about. You learn all of that stuff. It's a free 90-minute masterclass. A lot of people manifested their path into Taya boot camp as a result of going through the masterclass. We love teaching this masterclass. It gives you a lot of great information. It doesn't cost you a dime. You just need to give it your undivided attention for about 90 minutes. Sometimes we go as long as 2 hours. And the reason we go 90 minutes to 2 hours is because the Q&A at the end, we stay on and answer all of your questions at the end. So that anything that's not clear about Taya, we always have this wonderful discussion. We stay there until all the questions are answered. We don't just cut it off and say book a call. We want to interact with you. We want to teach you this stuff, and we want to inspire you with our many testimonials. I met with another a web guy today, and he was saying, I have never seen so many testimonials from any teacher. He said, I think you've got more testimonials than Tony Robbins. I don't know about that. I think Tony Robbins has been doing what he does a long time. But we do. I'm proud to say we have a lot of testimonials, dozens and dozens and dozens of testimonials. We have great Trustpilot reviews. This practice changes lives. And all of the teachings that we're offering up are all connected to the practice. And the Taya practice is about taking all of this knowledge, all of this wisdom that we are being given by the stream, and applying it in our lives in a practical way that we can all do. And we see it show up. And that's why we have all these amazing results, because people learn the practice and they see it show up in their lives. Their lives begin to significantly and profoundly transform.
that's
So
right.
save the date. Saturday, February 12th. It's just coming up in about a little over a week and a half, about a week from now, 3 p.m. Pacific. And set aside 2 solid hours.
I love this. Cheryl says, I'll be there. Woohoo! I'll rock on, Cheryl. Again, always inspiring, educational, and super high vibes. They are my best Saturdays for sure. So, you guys heard it right here, right now. So, make sure that you sign up for the masterclass. And of course, you have a whole bunch of, because you rock like that. I mean, it just is. It's awesome stuff there, David. So everybody, we are at the top of the hour, and I want to thank everybody again for showing up, participating. And next week, get some questions ready. Even post them into the Taya practice group, and we will grab those. Say, hey, you know what? I didn't think of this while you guys were live, but I just thought of this now, and I want to know about this. And make sure that you get it over. And then next week, we'll bring your question up and we'll ask it live right here on Claim Your Power Hour.
Yep. And be sure wherever you're watching this to like the video. Your comments are always helpful. If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. We do 2 live shows every week, plus a podcast. All of it gets posted on the YouTube channel. So there's a lot of stuff, and we're about to release a lot of clips from our live event that we did 2 weeks ago in LA. And then we're going to be offering the entire 5-hour interaction in video segments. We're going to offer that pretty soon. So that'll be coming out as well. So thank you all for watching. Much love to all of you. And Debbie, as always, to you for hosting fantastic interaction. Always a lot of fun.
So this was a delight today, and I am thrilled. It was just awesome. Thank you, Diana, Deborah, for being here as well. Bye, everybody. We'll see you next week.